The following questions are from a real SAT test given on January 2006, courtesy of the College Board. Number 12. The country found that its economy was growing more stronger with an improved outlook and more opportunities for training and employment. The country found that its economy was growing, singular, that's correct. More stronger is wrong because was growing is a verb. You need an adverb, so more strongly. And anyway, it would have been wrong because more strong equals stronger. So you will never see more stronger together. More strongly with an improved outlook and more opportunities for training and employment. For A, training, B, employment. Yes, okay, B. 13. The iris, the colored part of the eye, contains delicate patterns that are unique to each person, offering a powerful means of identification. The iris, singular, contains delicate patterns. Patterns, plural, are unique to each person, offering a powerful means. Yeah, so this offers a powerful means of identification. Perfect. E, no error. 14. The newly elected Prime Minister, to the dismay of opponents from other parties, have argued for the strict regulation of campaign financing. The newly elected Prime Minister, that's correct. To the dismay of opponents from other parties, that's also correct. Who argued? The Prime Minister has argued for the strict regulation of campaign financing. Number 15, studies have suggested that eating nuts, almonds in particular, might help to lower blood cholesterol levels in humans and reducing the risk of heart disease by protecting the blood vessels. So studies have, plural, correct, suggested that eating nuts might help to do what? Help to lower blood cholesterol and to reduce. You can say either to lower blood cholesterol in humans and reduce the risk, or you can say to lower and to reduce the risk of heart disease. And how does it do that? By protecting the blood vessels. 15C. 16. In English literature, James Boswell is the prime example of a biographer who, by ensuring the immortality of another author, has achieved immortality for himself. In English literature, that's correct. In literature, in history, he is who, by ensuring the immortality of another author, achieved immortality for himself, for James Boswell himself. All correct. 17. Because the garden was untended, the windows had no shutters, and the lawn overrun by weeds, people passing by the old house assumed that it was unoccupied. Because the garden was, the garden was untended, 2, the windows had no shutters, and 3, the lawns were overrun by weeds. So anytime you have a list A, B, C, A, B, and C, there has to be a parallel structure. All with verbs, all past tense, was untended, had no shutters, the lawn was overrun, and the lawn was overrun by weeds, people. Okay, so because the garden was untended, the windows had no shutters, and the lawn was overrun by weeds, people passing by, so passers-by, people passing by the old house assumed that it was unoccupied. 18. Until recently, most people entering politics feel that loss of privacy was a fair price to pay for the chance to participate in policy making. Until recently, so that means it's still in the past. Most people entering politics felt that, and here's another clue, they felt that loss of privacy was a fair price to pay for the chance to participate in policy making. Number 19. Only by tapping their last reserves of energy were the team members able to salvage what was beginning to look like a lost cause. Only by tapping their last reserves of energy were the team members, the subject of this verb is members, the team members were able to salvage, they were able to do this, to do what was beginning to look like, they were able to salvage what was beginning to look like a lost cause. That's correct. E. Number 20. When Doris Lessing published The Golden Notebook in 1962, it instantly established herself as one of the most important literary voices of her generation. This herself jumps out. It has to be, so this has to be she, because she established herself. Immediately, instantly, established herself as one of the most important literary voices. Okay, number 21. Not many authors have described the effects of environmental pollution as effective as Rachel Carson, whose work is still a model for nature writers. Not many authors have described, authors plural, not many have done that as effectively, verb, describe effectively, verb, adverb. So not many have described the effects as effectively as Rachel Carson has. And Rachel's work is still a model for nature writers. 22. It was a Chinese-American grower who finally succeeded with adapting the now familiar orange tree to the American climate. It was a Chinese-American grower, that's correct, who finally succeeded in adapting, succeeded in doing something. You can also say succeeded at a task. Succeed at a task. Okay. Succeeded in adapting the now familiar orange tree to the American climate. Adapt to, that's correct. So B. 23. The survey indicated that workers in the United States hope that his or her wages will keep with the rising cost of living. The survey indicated that who hopes? The workers hope. Correct? Plural, plural. That whose wages? That their wages will keep pace with the rising cost of living. 24. In Angkor, Cambodia's ancient city, a clever designed reservoir 5 miles long and 1 mile wide supplied fish and helped farmers to produce 3 crops of rice annually. In Angkor, Cambodia's ancient city, a cleverly designed. Adjective, you have to have an adverb modifying. A cleverly designed reservoir supplied fish and helped farmers to produce. 25. Last summer, when Mary's aunt and uncle flew from Turkey to visit their relatives and tour the United States, Mary invited Andia and I to her house to meet them. Okay, actually this should have been Sandia. Okay. Last summer, when Mary's aunt and uncle flew from Turkey to visit their relatives and tour, so they flew from Turkey to A, visit, B, tour. That's correct. You could also have said A, to visit, and B, to tour. Okay, but this is correct. Mary invited Sandia and me. Why? Because she invited us equals her and me to her house, or if Sandia is a guy, then him and me, to her house, to Mary's house, to meet them, to meet the aunt and uncle. So C. 26. Ongoing research by several scientists suggests that regular periods of meditation reduce blood pressure and are likely to contribute to other improvements in health. Ongoing research, what is the subject of suggest? Ongoing research means research which is still going on. Okay, it's research, it's singular. Research, the research suggests, singular with an S, that regular periods of meditation reduce, okay, plural, plural, blood pressure and are likely, correct, to contribute. 27. Because the American Indian rodeo includes games and exhibitions developed as early as the 17th century, they predate by a few hundred years the form of rodeo now seen on television. Because the American Indian rodeo includes, so the rodeo is subject of includes, games and exhibitions developed as early as the 17th century, the rodeo is also the subject of it predates by a few hundred years the form of rodeo now seen on TV. You're comparing American Indian rodeo to the form of rodeo now seen on Indian TV, singular. Number 28. 5 years in the writing, her new book is both a response to her critics' mistrust with her earlier findings and an elaboration of her original thesis. 5 years in the writing, it means it took her 5 years to write the book. Her new book is both a response to her critics' mistrust, is both, number 1, a response, and number 2, an elaboration of. A response to, an elaboration of, these are correct. This is wrong. A mistrust of, to her critics' mistrust of her earlier findings. 29. Despite its cultural importance, the Daily Gazette lost 70% of its subscribers since 1920, and by 1955 was losing as much as 200,000 a year. Despite its cultural importance, the Daily Gazette has lost, from past to present, since 1920, has lost 70% of its subscribers. By 1955, so between, this was the big change. By 1955, it was already losing as much as 200,000 a year.